Hello, welcome to another Street Chat, video Street Chat with me and Yuri. And today, and anyone else who joins in, we'll see. Today, we're going to talk about mobile street photography. That is street photography with using a smartphone. Some of the pros, the cons, perhaps some tips or something like this. Then we got some photographers for you to check out. And finally, a street challenge for the coming week. How are you doing, Yuri?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Thank you.
Great.
It's pretty miserable outside, but it's been for a few days here in the south of France, but nice and warm here inside.
Well, it's absolutely lovely here today, which is a nice change. I think we swapped from last week. So mobile smartphone street photography. Where I don't know exactly where to start. I think it's becoming a lot more common for people. I think smartphones have had a massive impact on photography in general, and I think street photography is no exception to that.
Yeah, it's becoming more and more popular, and but it's a good thing. I mean, the technology is changing every day, and more people shoot on their phones, and there's a lot of bad photos, and there's some good photos that you just need to find.
Yeah.
And follow those people. But I think in general it's a good thing. It's got to be a good thing because it's more democratic. It's always with you, the phone.
Yeah.
So that's a plus. It's portable. It's light. It's you're almost invisible, I guess. You're not noticed straight away if you take a photo with your phone.
Yeah, especially because everyone has smartphones now. It's whereas if you've got a great big, I don't know, the sort of cameras which have like the portrait grip and they look like they must weigh a ton. That makes you stand out. But a little smartphone, well, you see people walking around just holding their smartphones up all the time. So you really can be completely invisible with something like that.
Yeah, and it's a very normal thing. I mean,
yeah,
I guess you're less likely to be confronted if you're holding up a smartphone, or because they might think you're taking a selfie, or you kind of taking a photo of something behind, or
yeah. I think there's a two sides to kind of how people perceive you on the street, where if you've got a camera that doesn't look so fancy, you get the two sides. One is the sort of, oh, you're just a normal person, you're not some crazy guy who's here, you're not like, my photo's not going to end up on a billboard somewhere, which I think people worry about. And then on the other side, you get, you're a normal person, you weirdo. Why are you taking a photo of me? The sort of like, is it some sort of like sexual perversion? Do you like, so I think you get like the two sides of how people can view someone with like a smartphone or a point and click or whatever as both like, oh, you're harmless, or ooh, you're creepy from that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. But it's yeah. So what are the? I think one of the pluses as well. It's that you can share straight away.
Yeah.
It's the connection. So you take a photo and you share it. If you want it on anything, you enrolled in Facebook, Instagram, whatever.
Yeah.
And
edit as well. I think
and edit.
I think some of the editing tools for, like, personally, I really enjoy some of the editing tools on a smartphone or tablet. I really enjoy the sort of, like, when you're dodging something that you use your, like, finger to touch the spot rather than, clicking a mouse like this and, like, pulling in to, like, zoom in on a detail. I think, honestly, I prefer using those sort of interfaces, but I know they're not as powerful as doing it on a desktop. But I guess the advantage of a mobile phone is if you prefer a desktop as well, you can easily get pictures onto a desktop using one of the cloud services. You can have them backing up instantly, or which I think most smartphones have now. I guess that's a real advantage if you're, in a dangerous situation where someone could just smash your phone in theory, or smash your camera in. If they took your camera and took your SD card, they've got the one copy of your photo. If they take your smartphone and broke it, in theory, you'd still have the picture because it could have backed up and saved the picture.
It's a pretty extreme situation. I mean,
I'm glad I've never seen or heard of that happening yet, but I guess if you were really an undercover reporter, although I'm guessing also in a situation like that, maybe you'd be killed as well. So maybe not so good.
Or in the case that you may drop your phone or something happens to it suddenly, so your pictures are backed up.
Yeah. I guess though, an SD card is quite safe as well. SD cards, it's pretty hard to get them. Even if your camera gets completely soaked in water, the SD cards usually survive. One of the things I wrote an article a while back about the advantages of smartphone photography. And I think one of the really good things is it helps you to focus on composition in your photos, because you don't have the distractions of all the buttons and all the settings. You don't have different focal lengths unless you get one of these clip-on lenses. So instead, you can just be purely focused on lining things up. Some of the apps have nice little grids built into the camera. Some of them even have what is it called? Not the golden ratio spiral, so you can use that. Which you don't normally. Most cameras have a sort of basic grid, but these you can often get a few different customized layouts to look through.
There's something else I wanted to. You're limited. You're limited and in options, which gives you a kind of a creative opportunity to do something. So it's a creative constraint, I guess.
Yeah,
you may call it.
Yeah.
Because obviously you don't have a viewfinder. I mean, they're going to the cons of things. You don't have a viewfinder. Which personally for me, it's I like to look through the viewfinder to take pictures. It's a personal thing.
I'm the same. That's on my downside list.
That's on the minuses.
But I think your democratization point is such a good one, because pretty much everyone has a smartphone nowadays, and you've got it with you all the time, probably. If I had to guess, what do people have in their pockets? Probably smartphone, keys, maybe a wallet, but maybe not now with some of these payment things. So, there have been loads of occasions where I've been out and I don't have my camera with me for some reason, and so just pull out the phone, get the camera application going, take a picture. And anyone could do that at a moment they see. And I think, so it's great for learning on, and they're good enough quality. They take good enough quality pictures that you don't need to buy an expensive camera unless you really want to. So I think for beginners, I think a smartphone is absolutely the best choice. For
it is a good tool, or it could be beginner, it could be someone that's that can't afford a proper camera and already have a phone. So anything above 5 megapixels, I guess, or 8 maybe.
8's pretty good.
I have 5 megapixels on my Samsung, but it doesn't stop me from taking photos on it. And it's not like I'm gonna print those photos, or it's for learning, it's for practicing, for keeping in staying in the zone and training my eye every day.
Yeah, I think
it's good.
And I think like some of the barriers actually really help the photography, because the lens, not lens, the sensor is so small. You get a really big depth of field, which is pretty typical good thing to have in street photography. Obviously, if you want to do Bocalicious whatever, then maybe you need maybe an iPhone or a smartphone isn't so good. But for street photography, I think it works quite well. The low dynamic range is also another, I guess, creative constraint, which can be good for people. And the grain, because the sensor is smaller, so often you get a lot more noise in your pictures. I think that can work quite well. Like what's his name, Josh White? Am I right with that?
Yeah.
He does a lot with his iPhone, and I think he does great pictures with that. I think he uses the limitations well. Like he makes the most of those limitations.
Yeah, it's a perfect example. Actually, I was gonna suggest him as a photographer to check out, and so exactly what you said. He's using the limitations to his advantage.
Shall we talk about so after all of that, I'm a big proponent of mobile street photography, but I actually don't really like it.
Well, let's talk about the downside of it.
So I think I just don't like the experience as much. I find that like having that camera that's specifically designed for a task, I prefer. Maybe it's like the controls with the buttons, the viewfinder for how you're going to look at an image and set it up, the lack of distractions as well, because sometimes you get a load of notifications on your phone, and the camera doesn't have that, so it can be quite nice to like completely disconnect and just have your camera. I think like one of the things that I noticed as well is that in theory a smartphone should be quicker to take a picture with, I think, because often the apps are really easy to open, you have it in your pocket, whatever. But in practice, I find that I capture more moments with a dedicated camera, because I'll have it always on. I have it always on my neck, and I have my hand always on it. Whereas with a smartphone, I'll have it turned off to save battery life, because like when you have the screen on, it drains the battery so much. So I'll have it off, so then I have to turn it on, open up the camera app, which doesn't take long. But I find that, the difference between having a camera like here and then going like this is almost nothing. Whereas, into my pocket, take the camera out, open up the app, get it ready, take the picture. In my experience, and I think this is probably the key reason for me, is that I miss more shots with a smartphone than I do with a camera, I think.
Yeah, and already, if you have your proper camera, your Fuji in your bag, you shouldn't even be reaching for your phone. Yeah. So, but it happened to be, I have a phone in my pocket and my camera when it's in my bag. It's true that I think by the time, and it's quite slow, the Samsung, so it's not an iPhone, so it doesn't have the speed. So I think, well, it's even if it's DSLR in my bag, I'll still be quicker to
Wow.
use that. Yeah, because well, I need to open my bag, take it out, take the cap off, turn it on, and it's ready. I mean, I already have everything ready. Like I check before I go anywhere. I check the battery. I check that it's on proper settings, on RAW, program mode, either program or
Oh, okay.
what is it called? Aperture priority, and ready to go. Yeah. So
interesting.
it's only when in situations when I don't have my proper camera, so then I can use a phone if I want to take a picture. You know, there's nothing stopping me.
Yeah. I mean, I think I gave some other ones for discretes, for downsides. Yeah, there's the other element of instant sharing and editing is that sometimes it is better to let the photo development, perhaps, or something. Like if you take a load of pictures, maybe it's better not to just share all of them
straight away.
Yeah, and maybe it's better to, especially straight away. Like it does encourage you to not perhaps work the scene as much as when you've got a fixed camera and you want to take you take a couple of pictures, you move to a different angle, and you keep taking pictures because you can't just share it straight away. Whereas, you've got a smartphone and you take a picture. Oh, look at it. Oh, maybe I'll just share this one because it's so easy. Yeah. Or even after, the person's walked away. Well, they've walked away. Maybe I'll share this picture now because it was pretty good. But if you've got like a standalone camera, okay, you could share it via Wi-Fi, but that's a lot more difficult, and it's enough friction for me that I'm more likely to just go, okay, I'll share this later on. I'll keep taking photos now. So I think it helps encourage you to keep taking photos and to not just share.
Yeah, it's a good point not to share straight away, because you also caught up in the moment, and you're feeling that you're right there, you're feeling the atmosphere, the elements, you caught the elements right, the light was good, you took a photo, you want to share it because you feel good about it, but then you can't be objective.
Yeah.
And then maybe a week later, a few days later, you will look at it, maybe I shouldn't have, because it's kind of nobody's interested in that. I'm not even, I don't think it's a good photo anymore.
Yeah, or maybe it's just not appropriate for this. Like I think, as we were saying last time, like a really powerful thing on Instagram is when you've got a series that people can look through, and they're all similar photos. And maybe you took a really good photo series that you've got going on. You can save it for later and then share it later on with some other images that will fit better in that theme or that series. So yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be like, oh, actually it's not that good, but maybe it's not that good for now.
Yeah.
Any other disadvantages?
Surely they are.
I've got one. Low light.
Yeah. Shoot if you have some.
In low light, like generally there's a lot more noise, and it's harder to get as good images. I've found that a standalone camera, you can do tricks like spot meter, expose for the brightest spot, and then then you've got some really nice deep. You're not going to blow out the highlights. You'll get the maybe the shadows, maybe the blacks will be completely gone, but I think it's often that's not too much of a problem if you're not shooting with a flash, and if you're just out on a street. I find that it's a lot easier to get a good image from a standalone camera. because the sensors are bigger, they have less noise, often a higher ISO range. So I think that.
Yeah, that's another good point. I was thinking about another one, which I forgot already. It's hard. Yeah, so we covered the view. There's no viewfinder, noise, the sharing. Also, it can be quite fragile, so you might drop it. It's uncomfortable to hold.
Yeah,
unless you have a grip.
there are lots of those
Which
now.
Sorry,
there are a few of those coming out now, aren't there? Things like I just saw a Kickstarter recently, Pick Grip, I think it was, and then
you shared something, yeah.
The other one was the other grip is Moment. I think they are. Moment lenses do an interesting little grip. So yeah, there are some which make it more comfortable.
Also, having the settings on being able to change your settings if you have your proper camera, if the situation is complex, you can actually change the settings. You can shoot with the speed priority, or if you need, or any other setting like this, which you can't really do on iPhone or on a smartphone.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sure there are some other points. I've got an article which I'll put in links on the website, and if we find some other good articles, we can put them there too. So this episode, along with links and interesting information, hopefully, will be up at Streettogs. So that's Street, STREET, Togs, which is still the same word, TO.GS, and it'll be, if you search there, you can find Street Chat and the relevant one. Let's move on to recommended photographers, Streettogs. So I am going to recommend Nicholas Gervin. I came across him last week. He's based in Portland, Oregon, I believe it's Portland, Maine. Portland, Maine in America, and he's a bit of a street photographer there. He's just got a piece of he's got a publication coming out soon that I saw. I really like his style. He does some color, some black and white, pretty interesting stuff. And the link seems to be showing just a white page, as you do. So yeah, Nicholas Gervin.
Nicholas Gervin, yeah, he's on. I can see he's on Flickr as well.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'm going to put a link to his website. I've just put his name in the chat here, so I'll put a link to his website as well, so people can see. If you're in the chat, you can check out his website and see what his work is like.
Okay, is it a connected? Is it a mobile phone photography or not?
I don't think he is a mobile phone. He's not a mobile phone photographer. Maybe I should have.
It's not connected. Okay.
I should have found a mobile phone only photographer. Whoops.
No, that's fine. Yeah, I'll check it out. Yeah, looks like urban landscapes and.
Yeah, I really recommend him. He's really good style. Really worth checking out. So,
okay,
your choice.
Yeah, and my choice was you already mentioned Josh White from a Canadian photographer, who's based in Seoul or somewhere in Korea.
His website is something like JT in Seoul. Yeah.
JT in Seoul. Yeah.
Cool. I'll add his link here. Yeah. What do you like about him?
Yeah. I like the. First of all, I got to say that some of the images he shoots on he takes on a phone, and because he's got a few cameras, which is and he changes between them. Ricoh, I believe, and Leica, and an iPhone. Mm-hmm. So what I like is the proximity to his subjects and the sense of kind of alienation. You feel that you're in the scene, you're in the frame, It's pictures mostly of commuters in metro and underground in Korea or Japan, I think. I hope I'm not giving false information here.
No, I think so.
So it's he puts a lot of elements as well in the frame. There's a good compositional shots as well as good close-up shots of different characters, and it's completely live that I know nothing about, so it's very interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
It's all in black and white. He shoots in black and white and rarely in color.
I definitely agree.
That's it. Yeah, that's his link. Yeah.
Great choice. And really worth checking out. Okay, challenge time. So we kind of mentioned it last time. This week, I hope people managed to do their 500 photos. I think I was a little bit under, actually. Partially because some friends took me to a cat cafe, as you do. But this week, the challenge is to shoot a roll of film. So instead of doing the whole shoot loads of photos, this time it's really focus in and limit yourself to the number of photos that you can take in one session. So you're not some people, they just do burst mode. Well, this will stop you from doing that. You have to try and time it correctly. And it's just an exercise to work that muscle. So 24 or 36 shots.
36, yeah.
Yeah, let's go for 36. Maybe, if you want to do it just in one day, that's okay. Or if you want to do 36 across the week, that could be an even different challenge for you. You're allowed to be a little bit flexible.
Yeah. It's a good one. It should be a good one. It's 36. I mean, you really have to focus and think about what you want to shoot. You can do a nice series of 36 of the same message that you're trying to get across, or kind of something that connects the images, or just 36 strong that you believe will be strong photos. Yeah,
I think also it's quite good for working out if you're shooting a little too early. If there's a moment where you're trying to line people up, and if you look at the images and you're that was too early. So then it lets you know, maybe I need to just hold myself back a little bit longer or something like that. So it's good for working out. Naturally, I shoot a little late. So I have to try and shoot, which I've worked out in the past. So I need to try and capture it a bit earlier. So yeah, I hope people enjoy a challenge. Remember to head over to Twitter, and we'll have a street chat there as well this weekend, I hope. There's been a couple of delayed ones, so we'll hopefully have a Twitter-based one there at the weekend. And also, do the challenge. Head over to Facebook to publish your 3 best shots from the challenge.
Should we give it? Should we give the challenge until next weekend?
Yeah, until Sunday night, I think is a good time to. Well,
yeah,
not so much time.
A week and a half.
Half a week.
No, I mean a week and a half. I mean, not this Sunday.
Oh yeah, that's a much better idea actually. Yeah. Okay. So you've a week and a half. Oh, luxury.
you can shoot 36 every day.
Yeah, that is an option if that's how you want it. Or you've got 36 across the whole week and a half, which would be a real challenge. So enjoy that's cool. And also join us for Monday Masters. Yes. I don't know who gets to pick. We'll have to see who picks what for Monday Masters this time. It's not us two, so I look forward to. I thought your William Eggleston was a great choice. Really good challenge, that one.
Yeah, he was on my list. I have a mental list of 5 or 6 photogs that I had to choose.
Yeah, I'm starting to get out of my list now. So it's who to pick. Right. I'm going to stop this now before I keep rambling.
Thank you. Bye bye.